Hey folks, I'm Sir Vainglory and welcome back to Steel Division Normandy 44. Like a lot of people, I think, I was struggling to beat the medium AI, but I finally managed it and I decided to do an analysis of the battle to see what I did well and what made me successful this time, and also to see what I could do better. So I started out with some light recce units on each flank and a heavy infantry force to move up through the centre. The plan was to take the big industrialised zone up in the second third of the map and use that just as a blocking force to prevent them from moving up. By them I mean the Germans, of course. The first contact happened just to the left of the industrial zone. There was a Kubelwagen came up. I'm not sure if it was a scout squad or if it was a leader squad, but they came zooming round the corner and right into fire from one of my rifle sections and Vickers heavy machine gun. I'd also had my mortars in behind the factories there, and I called in mortar fire to not deal with these guys, but the Panzer Grenadiers I was presuming were coming up in rope trucks behind them. At the same time, the recce section on the left flank pushed through the trees and spotted a Firefly coming down the road. So I got a 6-pounder gun across there and repositioned to get a bead on the tank, and I managed to take it out with one shot. The second German tank appeared in the centre. It was a Panzer II this time, and my other 6-pounder over there managed to engage that. Took a couple of shots, but it did manage to take out the Panzer. You can see the way that the front line is pushed back. That tells you that there was nothing really supporting the Panzer II, so I should have pushed forward the rifle section that's in the woods by the road there, but I didn't do that. I think I was wary of the Panzer Grenadiers. Looked like a platoon's strength coming down the right flank, and also there was the Panzer Grenadiers to the left where I only had my recce. I had no support for them. I didn't pull the recce back. I think I just didn't realise that the Panzer Grenadiers were moving up on them. I wasn't paying attention to it. So the recce section engages that rifle section with predictable results. Now I did have a Humber there. I could have brought the Humber up in support, and I did do that, but it was too late. The right hand side, the medium machine gun carrier engages the Panzer Grenadiers out in the open, and there's a Humber there again. I didn't use that to support them or to take on the Panzer Grenadiers, so it could have been much better use made of the Humbers. On the left hand side, the Humber there and the 2-inch mortar deal with the Panzer Grenadiers. So the Germans are now pushing forward both sides of the industrial complex. The half-track follows the same sort of route as the Panzer II did earlier on, and the 6-pounder's still there, and it engages it. It doesn't manage to destroy it, but it does manage to get it to draw back. I now decide to try and push forward my rifles in the centre towards this centre left area where the Panzer Grenadiers had come from. So I move them forward and also bring up the rifles from the rear at the centre. So I'm really just trying to push up now. But one of the rifle sections is caught out in the open by a SPW 222 that just appears round the trees there, opens up on them and it suppresses them. I managed to put down smoke to give them cover from the armoured car, but there's a rifle section in the tree line just ahead there that keeps them pinned down, and my mortar have brought that into fire on a different Panzer Grenadier squad, so my guys are trapped here for just now. On the right hand side, the Panzer Grenadiers have been pushed back. I have managed to bring up a Honey Stuart, and we managed to begin pushing forward there. On the left side, the Humber and another Honey Stuart move up to try and bring in get the flank shots in an SPW, and I'm also bringing up an AVRE to support in the centre. So the mortar then manages to finally lay down some smoke in that Panzer Grenadier section, and it allows my rifle section to recover. Over on the left, the Honey Stuart gets a bead on the SPW and it engages it, and the Humber keeps pushing forward. As the armoured car and the tank here exchange fire, Pack 38 appears in the tree line over to the left, and it opens up and it forces the Honey to withdraw. The Humber manages to eventually suppress the Pack there. So I'm beginning to push back the Panzer Grenadiers in the centre, and we're are pushing forward quite well on the right hand side, but both my 6-pounders are too far back really to be effective at all, and also there's a Vickers there that I'm only just beginning to move up. Over on the left, the SPW 222 and the Humber exchange fire, and the Humber's destroyed.
Jerry's dead.
And in the centre, there's a Panzer Grenadier section there that engages my rifle section, so we'll begin to move over an MMG carrier to provide support to it, and I've brought up another couple of rifle sections. On the left hand side, AVRE has finally got into position, and the SPW engages it while a firefight goes on between the infantry and the buildings ahead of it. So it takes quite a while for the AVRE to finally open up, but when it does, it manages to destroy the armoured car. So on the left hand side, the Honey and the Pack exchange fire while my infantry squads move up. Send one squad to cross the bridge and go into the trees over there, and I bring in mortar fire, or smoke from the mortar to cover the other infantry squad that's moving straight ahead. I've also managed to finally bring forward my 6-pounder. So I'm moving forward well on the right now, and the rifle sections are moving up to support the Honey, as well as the Recce section and the P8 team. In the centre, some German half-tracks begin to push forward. I don't have anything on the ground to counter them with, so I call in a Spitfire to try and come up and deal with them. So on target, unfortunately I didn't manage to destroy either of the half-tracks. I did manage to suppress them, and also suppress the Grenadier squad that was on the move there. Back over on the left hand side, the rifle section pushes through the smoke, and it catches the Pack moving forward in the open. So the Pack begins to pull back, and as the smoke dissipates, the Honey catches sight of them and it engages them and manages to knock them out. Success there, but over on the right there's another Pack there, and it manages to destroy the Honey Stuart that's moving forward. The MMG carrier that was moving up support tries to suppress the Pack, and it takes a hit which knocks out its transmission. So that's it. It's stuck there. The third shot from the Pack is wild. The fourth shot from the Pack does a bit of damage. Back in the centre, these two half-tracks have recovered from the Spitfire strike and they're blasting the crap out of a building that have a rifle section in. They destroy that building and then they switch target to another building where I've got a Vickers heavy machine gun. They manage to take out the HMG in there and then they begin to move forward. There's still a couple of riflemen in that building there, however it's the rifle leader section that lobs a shell over to take out one half-track, and a shot from the 6-pounder takes out the second. So now on the left we're pushing forward well, but on the right hand side we're getting bogged down. In the centre I could be pushing forward, but I'm waiting for more infantry to come up and support. I should really have pushed forward there, I think, a bit more aggressively. So there's another couple of half-tracks moving up, and I bring in the Spitfire again to try and take them out. So one half-track veers off, the other one straddled by the bombs, and the driver decides it's time to get the hell out of Dodge. Back over on the right, you can see there's a big bulge in terms of the front line. There's a Panzer Grenadier unit has pushed forward on the right. Came along the main road, up past behind that hedgerow, while my squads were both engaging a rifle squad in front of, or a Panzer Grenadier squad in front of them. Also over on the right, there's a pack that's moving in towards the centre. And it's going to threaten the area where I'm looking to bring up my AVRE to try and provide some support. So I have a Typhoon available, and I call that in to take out the pack. Not the best angle. So we've got some infantry moving up again in the centre, and over on the left we encounter a couple of half-tracks, so we stop to engage them, and we manage to take one of them out.
Got it.
But looking over to the right again, you can see there's a rapid change in the front line indicator again, and I think it makes me think that there's a unit pushing forward, but it's actually just a result of this firefight here where my rifle section is suppressed, so they lose their zone of control effectively, rather than there being any other units pushing up there. But my Spitfire is ready, so I bring that in again to take the heat off those riflemen in the forest. So it looks here like some of the rifles, the Panzer Grenadier survived, but in fact they didn't. It's now beginning to look good. We've pushed forward well on the left. We are now in control of the right. The Germans are falling back, and I've got enough infantry in the centre to be pushing forward there. And just at that point I spot a German tank moving forward, and it looks like a big one. It's a Panther. So the Panther, it spots my command carrier and opens up on that, forcing it to pull back, and then it repositions it to a spot with better lines of sight. And from there, it engages my AVRE. The AVRE ignores it and moves forward to engage this Panzer Grenadier squad that breaks cover. But a second shot from the Panther decides that it's not going to ignore it any longer, and it's going to pull back. Call in some smoke to cover its withdrawal, but a third shot from the Panther doesn't knock out the tank, but it does damage its weapon. So It's got nothing else to see there, so the Panther then switches its attention over to my two squads on the right flank that are out in the open. So the Panther and the half-track there both managed to pin them down. I tried to move up a Piat team to deal with the Panther, but it runs into a Grenadier squad. Does okay against them, managed to take out a few guys, but there's no chance for them in there.
I'm hit.
Calling a Typhoon to try and deal with the Panther. The tank commander just looks up at me and says, "Is that the best you got?" Didn't even shut the hatch. So now things are beginning to go bad on that right hand side. The infantry's suppressed, it's out in the open, it's got a heavy tank, infantry and half-tracks around about laying fire into them. And also I'd been moving up a brain team to try and support them, but they ran into some Panzer Grenadiers and they get bogged down there as well.
Just get me out of here.
The German reinforcements begin to pour in on the right hand side behind the Panther.
I'm hit.
So I decide to call in my Spitfire and a Typhoon for another strike.
Stay low. Backwards, backwards.
So there's a whirlwind there that opens up. It doesn't manage to hit either of my planes, but the Panther survives the attack. It's just suppressed and forced to fall back. I've now managed to get a Churchill forward on the right, and there's no infantry left to support it by this point. And the whirlwind up there just lays into what's left of the infantry. Increases the misery. Over to the left, I've succeeded in pushing back the infantry, but they've heavily reinforced with some half-tracks over there.
We can't take this anymore.
The difference in the length of the supply lines is now duly noticeable, as it takes my reinforcements so much longer to get into the fight than it does the Germans. That's the price of success. So I tried to push forward my infantry over on the left,
One more kill.
but the Panther and the half-tracks are laying into them and just keep them pinned down. So I'm calling some fire from the 25 pounders to try and support the left flank. Just to try and keep a bit of pressure on. I'm moving up another Churchill and Little John along that road on the left, just to try and provide some relief up there.
Jerry's
So over on
dead.
that left flank, a couple of the German half-tracks decide to push forward across the bridge under the fire from a half-track on the bank there. I've still got my 25 pounders dropping fire on them, but they managed to force back the Honey Stewart that was up there. Got a 6 pounder, but that's gets a couple of shots off, but doesn't manage to get any hits. So there's more German reinforcements pouring in towards the right flank now,
Be careful. Enemies
and
nearby.
I'm trying to rush forward some infantry
We're sitting
on the
on
right
an
flank to support my
explosive
Churchill. I'm not sure if they're going to get there in time to do any good. The Panther's now recovered from its suppression. I'm trying to move a 17 pounder up the left hand side, but there's still those couple of Grenadier sections that are a threat, so I do what I can to try and pour fire in on them, but they're refusing to go down, so I retask the 25 pounders to put some fire on them.
Good job, Gunner.
So there's still plenty of German reinforcements seem to be moving about there in the rear areas, and I bring in the Spitfire once again just to try and put some pressure on the Panther, try and suppress it again. So just discover an 88mm flank cannon there, and I don't manage to get the Panther. It manages to just move out the way of the bombs and escape, but I do manage to destroy the supply truck, hopefully before it's resupplied the tank. Then I bring in a couple of Typhoons. I send one in against the 88mm and I send the other one against the Panther. So the flank cannon's gone, and so's the Panther. Finally get it. So with that, getting up on 1900 points at this point, less than a minute and we've got a victory. So I think I'm going to do it. Another Panther appears on the left hand flank, but it's too late this time. There's also some flamethrower units moving up there. But for me, coming up on the right hand side, I brought in a couple of Wolverines and some more infantry. But I'm just looking at the clock, just willing it to get up to, or looking at the points rather, willing it to get up to 2000. And I think I'm pleased to get the victory, but there's a number of things I thought I could have done much better. My 6-pounders, getting them forward, my AVRE, I didn't make effective use of that, and not been aggressive enough in some points where I could see that the zone of controls were very much in my favour. I could have pushed forward, but we got the victory. Not quite a 2-to-1 kill ratio, but as I said, I enjoy it anyway. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Please comment, please rate the video, and hope to see you next time.